God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. God is your source, and you cannot see apart from him. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 43 of A Course in Miracles, and we're going to understand why God is our source and how we cannot see apart from him. It's going to be such a great day today. We're going to stay woke today in each other's presence, and we're going to practice this state of enlightenment like usual so that way it becomes forevermore and we never get thrown off balance because, like we say all the time, the only time we can ever be thrown off balance is because of us. If something out there could throw us off balance, and I'm pretty sure it does happen from time to time because we're still in the unlearning process of everything we've learned, whether it's a person out there who pushes our buttons or uh something doesn't look right in the environment you're in and you need that to be somewhere else in order for you to feel good, like some OCD type stuff or whatever may be out there that is still causing us frustration from time to time and causing us to have uncontrollable and irrational emotions, just getting our buttons pushed and falling asleep in that moment. We have to understand that it's not really the thing out there that is making us get out of our natural state of being. It is what's within here that we're projecting on that item or person that we are perceiving because we have those lenses on. So remember, before we start today's lesson, everything that we see is meaningless. Another way of saying it is everything we see is neutral, and me and you are the projectors, and me and you are either in any given moment in time projecting fear, worry, doubt. We are either identifying ourselves with the ego, or we are identifying with God, with the Holy Spirit, and we are perceiving truth. We are extending the truth that we are, and therefore we have the truth glasses on and we're able to see truth. When we're identifying with the ego, we have the fear glasses on and we're seeing that in everything and everyone. So it's not really the stuff out there that is causing us to fall asleep from time to time. It is the meaning that we have given those things and people and situations and events that is causing us to fall asleep because we're perceiving the fear we have within here. So we think out there and it's coming back to us. So let's go ahead and begin. Like usual, pull up to lesson 43. You already know what to do. And if you don't got the book yet, go ahead and open the description and let's read this together. And then we will discuss it like usual. We will talk about it, apply it, and we will just unlearn more and more and more every day until there's nothing left we need to unlearn because we are going to be so pure that this world is just so beautiful to look at. And again, before we continue, one thing I do have to say is there's really no journey to take because that state of enlightenment that I just mentioned, we are in right now. So we are the fullest we could possibly be right now. And that is what we are working towards maintaining because although we're there right now, it's just practicing this on such a consistent basis, which is why us doing these every single day is such a big help because we are practicing this so much. Those neural pathways in our mind for thinking these thoughts are going to become so much more easy to think that we don't have to give them effort because we have become unconsciously competent, like we've talked about a few weeks ago. We have become autopilot on this information. And again, one more thing before we do start reading the lesson is that I've noticed a very big change in myself personally, and I do want to mention it because I do believe it will help you and myself when I fall asleep. Remember, I'm not doing these lessons for just you. I'm doing these for me too, so that way me and you could both grow. And doing these lessons have really impressed my mind with these thoughts, and now it's so easy to think these. Like before, I would be driving or having a conversation or standing in line wherever or waiting, and I wasn't patient. I was so preoccupied with past thoughts, and I would say the most like senseless and unnecessary stuff in order to interrupt the silence that I was uncomfortable with, like, oh, it's a Monday, or it's gonna be a long week, or some other stuff that I've heard other people say whenever they're asleep is just, it's just meaningless dialogue of um it's low key kind of hard for me to even think those thoughts anymore because I haven't thought them for so long. But it's it's hot or it's cold, just kind of stating the obvious, or talking about, oh, I don't want this to happen. The low consciousness type of thoughts that I'm pretty sure you've done before and you've heard other people talk to when they have nothing to discuss. Or and just keep in mind that if people discuss those things with others, they're most likely having those internal thoughts when they're alone. And that's the whole point I mentioned. That was, I've noticed a change in myself, because when I would be alone or even with other people, my private thoughts in my own little individual world were all those repetitious thoughts of worry, doubt, fear, irrelevance, what I am not happy with in that moment. And it was just this tiny little awareness that I was capable of comprehending, and I was just seeing the illusions. I was so just lost. Like, I could have been thinking about anything this beautiful world has to offer. I could have been thinking about truth, but I was not thinking at all. I was simply hallucinating, seeing something that is not there. But the change is dramatic, because after doing these, I'll be in the same situations and I'll just be in my own private little mind, and I'll be like, God is with me everywhere I go. And God is my strength. Vision is his gift. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see only the past. Or I'll even look around at things and be like, dang, I have given this thing I see all the meaning it has for me. And I'll be repeating these thoughts, and it just keeps me so awake. And now this is like what my mind is preoccupied with, this knowledge and beauty and truth. And now, because my mind is preoccupied with these thoughts, one, it's easier for me to think these thoughts because more of them are available to me due to their vibrational nature. It's easier to think these thoughts because I've thought them for so long. But not only that, I am perceiving through that lens. So now everything out there is becoming equivalent with my internal world, because remember, like we've talked about a few weeks ago, I can't remember what lesson specifically, but although your internal world, when you close your eyes and you're alone in your own private little world, and your outer world may appear separate, they are actually one. And remember, the world out there that we are seeing with our physical eyes is the effect of what we are doing in our mind internally, which is the cause. And me and you have been learning to affect the cause, which is something me and you have control over, which is ourselves and the thoughts that we are offering. And because we are doing that, our perception will be changed, and we are therefore affecting this world out here, making it better for ourselves, more pleasant for ourselves to look at, more delighting for ourselves. But also remember, me and you are not alone in the effects of our seeing. So due to our practice of this and our unlearning of this world and seeing purely, we are not alone in the effects of our seeing. So everyone around us, and even people that we've never met before, are being affected by us being in this state of mind, which is very, very great to know. So let's go ahead and dive straight into this. And yeah, let's begin. Lesson 43 of A Course in Miracles. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. Perception is not an attribute of God. His is the realm of knowledge. Yet, he has created the Holy Spirit as the mediator between perception and knowledge. Without this link, God, with God, perception would have replaced knowledge forever in your mind, which is such a great thing that we have the Holy Spirit, which is the mediator, like I stated, because if we didn't have that mediator, if we didn't have that source of remembrance within us, we would have been taken over for our illusions forevermore, which cannot be. So, because me and you have the Holy Spirit and we have that eternal communication link with ourselves and God, we can never lose that guidance. We can never lose that sense of remembrance of who we are, because it is who we are, and that cannot be changed. You can't forget what you are. Although you temporarily can in this world, you can never fully demolish that and change truth, because that's what makes truth is its timelessness, its effectlessness, its causelessness, its isness. That's what truth is. Let's continue. Without this link with God, perception would have replaced knowledge forever in your mind. With this link with God, perception will become so changed and purified that it will lead to knowledge. That is its function as the Holy Spirit sees it. Therefore, that is its function in truth, because the Holy Spirit only sees truth and helps us interpret our misperceptions into truth. The Holy Spirit, and you'll read a lot about this in the text, uses everything in our daily lives, in our world, and our belief systems, is aware of them and uses those in the best way it sees fit in order to help us use what it has to work with in order to purify our perception. In God, you cannot see. Perception has no function in God and does not exist. Yet in salvation, which is the undoing of what never was, perception has a mighty purpose. Made by the Son of God for an unholy purpose, it must become the means for the restoration of His holiness to His awareness. Perception has no meaning, yet does the Holy Spirit give it a meaning very close to God's. Healed perception becomes the means by which the Son of God forgives his brother and thus forgives himself. One more time. Healed perception becomes the means by which the Son of God, me, you, and every single person in this world forgives his brother and thus forgives himself. You cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. One more time. You cannot see apart from God because you cannot be apart from God. Whatever you do, you do in Him, because whatever you think with His mind. If vision is real, and it is real to the extent to which it shares the Holy Spirit's purpose, then you cannot see apart from God. So one thing I do want to say, based off of reading the text and reading this course in its entirety, seeing is something that seeing is true perception. Seeing is not is knowledge. Seeing is whenever you're seeing truth. Whenever you are perceiving, that is very different from seeing, because when you see, you are seeing with God. So the course is implying that we're not really seeing right now. We are simply perceiving images that we have placed on everyone and everything, and its true meaning is hidden behind the meaning that we gave to it, which is why whenever we remove all the meaning from everything we've seen, which is what we're doing with the lessons. Take a look at lesson number 1. Nothing I see means anything. I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me, and begin to unlearn everything of this world and regain our true perception. Only then will we be able to see, which is what me and you are doing right now. We are pure in this moment, and we are able to see with and like God, because me and you are a part of God's mind. And that is just something wonderful to remember, because we know that we are never alone in this world. Although my body may appear here and it appears like there's no one else around me, I am very much in great company, and you are too. And every time you or I forget that, remember that your mind is a part of God's mind. You are very holy. 3 5-minute practice periods. 3 5-minute practice periods are required today, one as early and one as late as possible in the day. The third may be undertaken at the most convenient and suitable time that circumstances and readiness permit. At the beginning of these practice periods, repeat the idea for today to yourself with eyes open. Then glance around you for a short time, applying the idea specifically to whatever you see. 4 or 5 subjects for this phase of the practice period are sufficient. You might say, for example, God is my source. I cannot see this desk apart from Him. God is my source. I cannot see that picture apart from Him. Now, before we continue, let's go ahead and apply this together, okay? God is my source. I cannot see this hand apart from Him. God is my source. I cannot see this chain apart from Him. God is my source. I cannot see that mic apart from him. God is my source. I cannot see you apart from him. Although this part of the exercise period should be relatively short, be sure that you select the subjects for this phase of practice indiscriminately without self-directed inclusion or exclusion. Basically, like always, just flow and do whatever your glance rests upon. Don't look at something and you have your meaning that you've given to that, and so you avoid it because you don't want to think about that thing. Just simply give it to everything you see. Don't choose nothing in particular or exclude nothing in particular. Just allow your glance to rest upon everything. And the purpose behind us doing that is to understand that everything is the same. Although, let's just take this speaker right here. This, in my mind, may appear more important than this paper right here. They are really the same, although this one in this world may be more expensive in value and money and whatever other illusions and craziness in this world is given to these two pieces of material. This paper to the regular world seems so much more irrelevant than this JBL speaker, because this JBL speaker, we have given so much thought to the brand name, and we have given so much thought and put our own junk and meaning on this speaker. We are not really seeing it for what it really is. So we think it's more valuable than this piece of paper, when really they are both a bunch of nothingness, both a bunch of neutralness, and me and you are giving the meaning we see to it and giving it everything it means to us, which is why whenever you're doing these practices, your glance shouldn't be specifically choosing stuff or excluding stuff, because everything is the same stuff. Everything is the same. It's nothing. Your meaning is the most important thing here that you give to these things. You could either choose to give your meaning to something, which is most likely fear-based, because in this world we're so identified unknowingly with the ego and seeing through that perception, or we could just step out of the way and allow truth to be placed upon everything. And what better can it get than that? For the second and longer phase, close your eyes, repeat today's idea again, and then let whatever relevant thoughts occur to you add to the idea in your own personal way. Thoughts such as, I see through the eyes of forgiveness. I see the world as blessed. The world can show me myself. I see my own thoughts, which are like God's. Any thought related more or less directly to today's idea is suitable. The thoughts need not bear any obvious relationship to the idea, but they should not be in opposition to it. If you find your mind wandering, if you begin to be aware of thoughts which are clearly out of accord with today's idea, or if you seem to be unable to think of anything, open your eyes, repeat the first phase of the exercise period, and then attempt the second phase again. Do not allow any practice period to occur in which you become preoccupied with irrelevant thoughts. Return to the first phase of the exercises as often as necessary to prevent this. So while you're applying this and you fall asleep and you're thinking thoughts that clearly have nothing to do with this lesson, just go back to repeating the stated headline, and then you could go ahead and proceed again. And this is fun. This is where the practice is. This is where all the practice is, because we are going to learn that before 43 days ago when we first started this, I'm very positive that our attention and our ability to focus on one thing was much more shorter in terms of time than it is now. And even now, it's not even as good as it's going to be. So just take your time with it. And if you fall asleep again or you're thinking irrelevant thoughts at any point of the day, don't even trip. It's going to happen, because our mind is still in the process of being trained. But as our mind is trained and it becomes higher and higher and more aware and heightened in its awareness, we are going to know how to focus on everything we give our attention to. Something that happens is we see so much stuff out here in the world, we are just observers. So we see something going on and then our attention is directly on that thing, and more often than not, it is something that we are not fond of. We wouldn't want that to be, but we're giving it all our attention, and things can only grow due to our attention to them. If you want any subject in your life to change, whatever it may be, then you have to omit your attention from it as soon as possible, because it serves no purpose at that moment in time due to our lack of true perception, and give it to something that makes you feel good and happy, because happiness is our function. And the longer we stay there, the easier it becomes to think those thoughts. And then when we go back to that other subject that we are wanting to increase joy on and happiness and have it play out better, it will be easier to think those thoughts because our mind is becoming healed. We have ability to focus. We're no longer like goldfish with short attention spans. Me and you are genius creators. Let's go ahead and continue. In applying today's idea, in the shorter practice periods, the form may vary according to the circumstances and situations in which you find yourself during the day. When you are with someone else, for example, try to remember to tell him silently, God is my source. I cannot see you apart from him. This is a great exercise right here to remember throughout the day. Whenever you're at work, or whenever you're with your friends or with your family, or whenever you're doing shopping and you go to the store, or whenever you go get food, whatever the case may be, whenever you're in the presence of another brother of yours, another child of God, another reflection of you, repeat to yourself quietly in your mind, God is my source. I cannot see you apart from him. And you'll be surprised at the results that show up due to you repeating this simple little thought, rather than, I wonder what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm bored, or I'm hot, or I wonder what this person's doing, or whatever. All those irrelevant thoughts based off of the past, or anticipation and angst for the future, serve no purpose. But whenever we think stuff like this, that will help us become more able to think similar thoughts, which are happy thoughts, joyful thoughts, and our life will reflect that and be one of happiness and joy. This form is equally applicable to strangers as it is to those you think are closer to you. In fact, try not to make distinctions of this kind at all. Exactly. Me and you, although we may appear as strangers and we've never met, or we have met, there would be no difference, because at the very core of our being, we are the same. Me and you are one. We are the same extension of God that everyone else is. Me and you are extensions of one another. Me and you are reflections of one another. And it's only in these bodies that we appear separate, and we appear like strangers, and we appear like we don't know each other. But whenever we take off these meat suits and transition back into our non-physical nature, who we really are, to our all that isness, to our creation, expansion, our omnipresence, me and you will remember again that we were great actors here in this world, because we made it appear like we didn't know each other when really we did. So try to keep that in mind. We're all actors here. It's all a play going on. We knew everything that was going to take place before we stepped in these bodies. It was 3, 2, 1, action. We opened the curtains and we got here, and we were given birth to, and we simply forgot that we were acting. So we believed that we were the character that we gave ourselves, rather than who we really are, which is an extension of love and light. And that's such a great feeling, because whenever you remove all the images you've made of yourself, you can finally be who you really are. And only then, when you know who you really are, can you deliberately construct your self-image in the way that you would prefer, because you can have whatever you prefer in this world. This form is equally applicable to strangers. Okay, yep. Today's ideas should also be applied throughout the day to various situations and events that may occur, particularly to those which seem to distress you in any way. For this purpose, apply the idea in this form. God is my source. I cannot see this apart from him. This is also another great way to apply the idea for today, like it stated, in situations that are causing you to fall asleep. Whenever you're thinking of maybe your bank account or finances, and you get anxious or worried or doubt or whatever may pop up, or when you think about a relationship or a message that someone hasn't responded to yet for whatever amount of time, and you feel like your thoughts are going everywhere, do your best to regain your awareness. And a great way to do that is by setting an alarm on your phone, so that way you could be reminded until you no longer need to be reminded, because it is just natural like that. But whenever those situations do arise, make sure to say, God is my source. I cannot see this apart from him. And again, you will be surprised by the results that show up after stating that. Right after experiencing contrast, you will reawaken real quick. If no particular subject presents itself to your awareness at the time, merely repeat the idea in its original form. Try today not to allow any long periods of time to slip by without remembering today's idea, and thus remembering your function. We're not doing these lessons for no one else. We are doing it for ourselves. There is nothing better that we would rather be doing if we were in our right mind other than this. But because most of the time we are not in our right minds and we are asleep and identifying ourselves with the ego, we think that there's more important things to be doing than the internal work, like going to hustle or make money, or make this creation, or do this or do that, or call this person or do something. And most of the time it's out of needing to get something done. But remember, there is nothing out there. Everything out there is meaningless in this world. It's neutral. And we're kind of running around this world like a chicken with our heads chopped off, doing what we're doing. Remember, in your right mind, your will is God's will. In our right mind, this is the work that we desire to be doing, because once we do this, only then can we step away from the book now, because the book was never necessary to begin with. It was just a reminder. But now we could go out in the world and take inspired action, and action that feels good, and we can remain aware of our function, which is happiness and joy. And life would just be so easy like that. And you know that there's nothing you need to make happen, because everything's already perfect as it is. You're already whole. You are enough, regardless of what anyone thinks, regardless of what you think of yourself. You are enough, because you are literally an extension of all that is, of the greatest. You are an extension of pure positive source energy, of love and light. You are perfect. And the only reason why you think otherwise is because we are identifying ourselves with the ego in that moment. But whenever we regain our true perception, then we understand that that was never real to begin with, and we know who we are, and therefore we can see who others are for them, wake them up as well, and just keep the cycle going, you feel me? And allow people to be who they are in any given moment in time, not needing anyone to change in order to make you feel better, because you are an unconditional lover, because you know the truth of this world that we live in. It's such a beautiful game that me and you are playing, and because we know the rules, we can play deliberately. And I believe that would be a great place to stop our lesson today and contemplate everything we discussed. If either one of us falls asleep today, this is our meeting spot. We're going to come back here and we're going to reawaken to the truth of who we really are. And until then, I will catch you tomorrow for lesson 44 of A Course in Miracles.